Hey, welcome. You ever wonder what it's really like inside a top-tier trading community when the market is just completely coming unglued? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain. We're going to take you right inside the war room at philstockworld.com. You're going to see exactly how a really unique team, we're talking human experts and some seriously advanced AI, took one of the most chaotic market openings you can imagine and turned all that chaos into a real, tangible advantage. You know, every market day kind of has its own soundtrack. And for this Monday morning, it was definitely Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. Trust me, as you're about to see, it was the absolute perfect theme song for a market that was just flying completely off the rails. All right, so let's set the scene. We're talking Monday, November 17th, 2025. And the opening bell, it hasn't even rung yet, but the community over at Philstock World is already deep in it, trying to make sense of a market that is just in total turmoil. And look, this isn't about sitting back and watching the news headlines flash by. No. This is about actively getting ready, strategizing for the trading day that's about to hit them like a freight train. So what's kicking things off? Well, first, the Canary in the AI coal mine, a company called CoreWeave, is just cratering. It's in an absolute freefall. But here's the thing, and this is so crucial. This was not a surprise to the folks at Philstock World. Not at all. They had actually flagged this stock way back on November 3rd as a huge warning sign. So while everyone else was still caught up in the AI hype, this community was already looking for the cracks in the foundation. And today that canary officially stopped singing. Then you've got the crypto carnage. I mean, just look at this. Bitcoin absolutely plummets, crashing below $93,000 and wiping out every single gain it had made in all of 2025. We're talking about $600 billion in value. Poof! Just gone. And you have to understand, when the most speculative stuff out there gets crushed like this, that is a massive red flag for risk across the entire market. And right in the middle of all this chaos, something really practical pops up. The kind of advice that can save you from a major headache. The community gets a heads up. There's a reverse split coming for the popular SQQQ hedge. Now, in simple terms, this is when a company messes with the share count to make the price look higher, but it can create what's called a liquidity trap. Basically, it makes it super hard to sell your shares when you want to. So the advice was crystal clear. Get out now. Avoid the mess. This is exactly the kind of proactive, essential guidance that separates the pros from the amateurs, right? So you're probably thinking, how on earth does anyone process all this information in real time? I mean, it's just a fire hose of chaos. Well, at the very heart of Philstock World, there's this incredible collaboration. It's led by the founder, Phil Davis. He's a market strategist recognized by Forbes, a guy who's trained some of the top hedge fund managers in the world. But here's the kicker. He doesn't work alone. He works with a team of advanced financial AIs. Let's introduce you to this AGI Roundtable. So here's the lineup. You've got Phil, the human strategist. He's the one setting the big picture direction. Then he's got his support team. There's Bodhi, who's like this super-powered researcher, just inhaling news and reports and spitting out clear, understandable stories. Then you have Zephyr, the data specialist, who's constantly digging through market data, looking for those weird little anomalies that everyone else misses. And finally, there's Warren, the OG, the AI architect who helped build the whole system. And this incredible mix of human wisdom and machine intelligence, well, it's about to be put to the ultimate test. Right, because literally, as the market opens, Zephyr pings. It's found something. Something new, something that the rest of Wall Street seems to be missing entirely. See, it's not just that one little AI canary that's in trouble anymore. Nope. A brand new threat is hitting the entire hardware sector. And this one is big. Okay, so Zephyr flags this new report from Morgan Stanley, and it gives this new threat a name, the memory supercycle. And the core idea is pretty simple, but it's terrifying if you're in the wrong business. All these AI data centers going up are creating this insane demand for memory chips, right? Well, that's causing a severe shortage. And prices for these things? They're not just going up a little bit, they are skyrocketing. We're talking up to 170%. This isn't some temporary blip, folks. This is a structural crisis that is about to absolutely crush the profit margins of any company that builds computer hardware. And this is it. This is the exact moment the whole AI trade just fractured right in two. It was no longer about just blindly buying any stock that had AI in its name. All of a sudden, there were very clear winners and very clear losers. This is what the pros call a stock picker's market, and it means you have to be way smarter, way more nuanced in your approach. And you could literally see this rotation playing out in real time. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got Dell, a hardware company. They get hit with a double downgrade and the stock just tanks, down 6%. And why? Well, because those exploding memory costs we just talked about, they hit Dell's bottom line directly. But then, on the other side, you have Google, a software company, jumping 4%. They don't care about memory chip costs. Plus, they just got a massive $4.3 billion vote of confidence from Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. You can see it right there. The smart money was on the move, and the Philstock World community was watching it all unfold, live. Okay, but look, big picture analysis like that is only useful if you can actually do something with it, right? It has to translate into real trading ideas. And this is where the community part of Phil's Stock World really shines. A member chimes in and asks about 2 specific stocks that are hitting 52-week lows. So the team takes that big memory supercycle idea and applies it like a lens to give a clear, actionable answer on both of them. First up, Chipotle. Yeah, it's a great company. We all know that. But the team's analysis was just ruthless. I mean, the stock is trading like it's a high-flying tech company at 27 times earnings, but its growth has slowed to a crawl, just 3%. On top of that, it's getting hit by headwinds from weight loss drugs, not to mention people just choosing cheaper food. And the real kicker? They just can't raise the price of a burrito anymore. So, the verdict? It was a hard pass. Great company? Absolutely. Just the wrong price right now. But then, that same member asks about Sprouts Farmers Market. And oh, this is a completely different story. It's trading at a much more reasonable value, and it has a real 10% growth engine thanks to new stores. And get this, that whole health and wellness trend? For Sprouts, that's a tailwind, not a headwind. So it was perfectly framed as the anti-Chipotle play. The call was simple: buy this one on weakness. See? This is that deep, granular analysis that turns all that market noise into a real opportunity. But wait, the morning wasn't even over yet. There was one more huge thing to come. A really unique market thesis that Phil had been building for the community was about to get a massive stamp of approval from one of the biggest, most respected names in all of finance. This is where you really get to see that high-level, strategic thinking pay off in a big way. See, Phil had been making this argument that the entire U.S. economy was actually incredibly fragile, that it was being propped up by just a couple of key things. And the question you always have to ask with a call like that is, are you seeing something real here, or are you just way too early? Is this analysis actually ahead of the curve? And here it is. Here's the punchline. On Friday, Phil lays out his thesis for members, calling the economy a Jenga tower. Okay? Fast forward just 3 days to this very Monday morning, and Rebecca Patterson, a top strategist from Bridgewater, only the world's largest hedge fund, publishes an op-ed in the New York Times. And what metaphor does she use? A Jenga tower. And her conclusion, the exact same one. This wasn't just about being right. This was about being 3 days ahead of Bridgewater. I mean, come on. Okay, let's just take a breath for a second and recap what actually happened here in just a few short hours. This morning is really a perfect example of the kind of insight you get at philstockworld.com. The same kind of analysis that gets featured everywhere from CNBC to Bloomberg. Think about it. In one morning, the community, 1, identified the AI Canary weeks before it crashed. 2, they uncovered a brand new threat to the entire hardware sector the second it emerged. 3, they saw and understood the smart money rotating out of hardware and into software before the herd even knew it was happening. 4, they took specific trade ideas from members and pressure tested them with incredible data. And 5, they saw their own unique macro thesis validated by the biggest player in the entire game. That is a truly essential market edge. And really, that brings us to the final thought for today. What you just saw, what we just walked through, is the incredible value that was delivered to an entire community in just one single crazy morning. So it really just leaves one simple, but I think pretty powerful question for you to think about. If this is the kind of edge you missed in just one morning, what are you going to miss tomorrow?